Presidents were not imposed from above. They were nominated by the people of Gwagwalada themselves. And this is the kind of democracy we believe in.
Vice President Shettima inaugurates road, opening up Gwagwalada Area Council communities. Sixth constitutional alteration, Senate begins zonal public hearing.
Creation of state police in view of the fact that we already have various vigilantes being sponsored by this various state governments.
A win and a fine. Abuja High Court orders Senate to recall Senator Natasha as it fines her for contempt.
The Senate should consider recalling her back, although the reliefs are not stated.
Welcome to the Network News on NTA. I'm Najaa Tutijani. Lami is on national assignment. And joining me from Lagos is Hingino John Adams with exclusive reports, while Maria Ado Zakari is here with the business segment and Bade Adele with action-packed sports highlights. Maria?
On business, we have Perbek touring the country presently in Jos.
Thanks, Maria. And in the sporting corner, Bade, we're still mourning the loss of an icon, aren't we?
You're very much right. And of course, the football fraternity in Nigeria is still in shock as more tributes pouring for the late goalkeeper.
Well, don't miss out on the latest news and updates on the move by streaming this newscast live on our website, nta.ng/live. Do follow us on X and across other social media platforms. Our handles are displayed on the screen. Let's get started. President Bola Tinubu has departed St. Lucia, proceeding to Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, for the 2025 BRICS Summit. The president departed the Caribbean country after about a week's state visit. Prime Minister Philippe Pierre saw off the Nigerian leader at the St. Lucia International Airport. During the historic state visit, President Tinubu had separate meetings with the Governor-General Cyril Errol Charles and Prime Minister Philippe Pierre. He was at Sandals Grande where he addressed a special joint session of the Senate and House of Assembly, highlighting the importance of cooperation with St. Lucia and member nations of the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States. In Rio de Janeiro, President Tinubu is one of the 4 African leaders attending the 17th BRICS Summit. Leaders from Egypt, Ethiopia, South Africa are also expected at the summit. This year's summit, BRICS leaders from countries identified as the world's fastest growing economies will converge on Rio de Janeiro, promising to strengthen trade and technology exchange within the bloc against the background of U.S. President Trump's tariff threat. President Bola Tinubu has described the critical infrastructure projects provided by the FCTA as his administration's way of bridging the gap between promise and performance. The president stated this while inaugurating the newly rehabilitated Aguma Palace Radio Nigeria New Market Road in the Gwagwalada Area Council. Onoze Yakubu reports that the president's message at the event was delivered by Vice President Kashim Shettima.
Gwagwalada Township roads have been in a deplorable condition for many years. Statistics indicate that for those who live beyond the city center, they have watched development happen from a distance. But history is being rewritten with this infrastructure provision by the present administration. President Bola Tinubu, represented by the Vice President Kashim Shettima, says the administration is not just rehabilitating roads, but building trust, adding that the transformative drive is the product of reform-oriented policies of the present administration.
This is the kind of democracy we believe in. One that listens, one that responds, and one that delivers. Every place of the city, we are investing in roads, schools, hospitals, and people. The newly rehabilitated Aguma Palace Radio Nigeria New Market Road is a lifeline to the communities it connects.
FCT Minister Yesen Wike expresses readiness to initiate more projects that have a direct impact on the lives of the people.
Look at how happy the people are. That's to tell you that these roads have affected their life. Each time I come here for inspection, you can see the joy in them.
The commissioning of this road is a demonstration of our dedication to inclusive governance and also infrastructure renewal in our urban and the rural communities.
The 10-kilometer stretch road constructed by an indigenous contractor was delivered in 8 months. Onoze Yakubu, NTA News.
Legislative efforts to improve Nigeria's governance structure has shifted to geopolitical zones as the Senate seeks the opinion of citizens on the proposed amendments to the Constitution. With the public hearing for the Northeast Zone organized by the Senate drawing stakeholders from the zone, National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports from Maiduguri.
The public hearing preparatory to the 6th alteration to the Constitution is being held simultaneously across geopolitical zones with reforms to security and policing, inclusivity, traditional institutions, fiscal environments, judiciary, electoral as well as agitations for creation of more states and local governments topping the agenda.
Security concerns across the nooks and crannies of the country. So there's clamor for creation of state police in view of the fact that we already have various vigilantes being sponsored by this various state governments.
Devolution of powers. There seems to be a preponderance of opinion that power is so concentrated at the center and therefore power should be devolved to the state.
In Maiduguri, stakeholders said adding the voice of Nigerians in the exercise would enable realignment and adaptation to changing realities.
There is no gainsaying Nigerians' participation in the process of amending the Constitution will strengthen the validity of the Constitution and create a sense of ownership.
The judicial institutions are very commitment toward building a united Nigeria where peace, justice, and liberty cannot be ignored.
The adoption of special seat for women in parliament is not a favor, it is a constitutional and moral imperative that will enrich Nigerian democracy, deepen accountability, and also promote national development.
We have resolved, as people requesting category state, to see it to fruition, or we will die fighting for it, and our people will continue to look for it.
Let me also acknowledge the fraternal request by our brothers and sisters in Wubak Chiefdom of Borno to join us in Amana State.
The public hearing will be concluded Saturday, though that of the Northwest Zone has been postponed to a later date in honor of the late Alhassan Lantata, who died recently. Lami Ali, NTA News.
Now you know where Lami Ali is. Meanwhile, at the zonal public hearing in Jos, Senator Ashiru Lola says the National Assembly will address the call for renewed hope with measures to enhance good governance and promote welfare rooted in freedom, equity and justice. Bilkisu Nuhu reports.
The public hearing seeks to address critical national issues bordering on local government autonomy, electoral and judicial reforms, creation of states, state policing, inclusivity of women and people living with disability, amongst others. Chairman Senate Subcommittee for the North Central Zone, Ashiru Lola, is optimistic that the contributions by various groups will foster national perspective rather than personal interest, consider viewpoints from all and share insights.
I want to want every person to recognize that participation in this process as a vital civic responsibility.
Governor Caleb Mutfwang says public hearing is key for state building and democratic growth of any nation, as it allows citizens express their views on critical national issues that affect them. He commended the National Assembly for creating time to meet with their various constituents, which will become catalysts for projecting the Nigeria of our dreams.
A public hearing like this will afford us an opportunity to ventilate and articulate positions.
Stakeholders are positive that if their submissions are considered, no one will feel marginalized and the country will move to greater heights.
Girls with disabilities smoke too long and have been sidelined and excluded from political participation.
More than 60 submissions have been made by various groups to the committee for consideration. In Jos, Bilkis Nuhu, NTA News.
And from Enugu, the public hearing by the Senate to amend the 1999 Constitution is hinged on creation of more states, state policing, and additional legislative seats for women. Chika Ugu reports that 10 key points affecting the region topped the hearing.
This gathering of senators from the Southeast Zone, representatives of state governors, state legislators, civil societies, traditional rulers, among others, is an answer to a call to address the yearnings by Nigerians, especially the Southeasterners, who have been clamoring for the review of the 1999 Constitution to meet the demands of the people, as well as address marginalization.
It is no longer news that we have 36 states in Nigeria, and we have 6 geopolitical zones in Nigeria. Some zones have 7 states, some have 6 states, while we have 5 states.
According to the governor of Enugu State, represented, the Constitution needs to reflect the principles of justice, fairness, equity, and inclusiveness in order to uphold peace and national development. He, however, pointed out that the Southeast is left out in several critical aspects of national governance, which needs to be addressed.
The Southeast is ready to contribute constructively to this endeavor, and we look forward to a future where our Constitution truly embodies the aspiration of we, the people.
It was an eye-opening deliberation and convincing submissions by key players calling for the creation of Adada, Aba, and Anyam states, as well as Anyocha states.
We suffered a serious injustice in the creation of constituencies here.
Meanwhile, the Senate's delegation on public hearing earlier paid a courtesy visit to Governor of Enugu State in Enugu, Chika Ugu, NTA News.
And from the South, the people are calling for electoral reforms, reserved seat for women, abolition of state, local government joint allocation accounts, creation of new states in parts of the South, with Senate President Godswill Akpabio assuring the people of a fair hearing. Kelvin Samuel reports.
These are critical stakeholders from states that make up the South-South geopolitical zone with one thing in their mind, and that is to add their voices to ensure that the Nigerian Constitution, when reviewed, represents the collective aspirations of the people.
There is no nation that can thrive without the inclusivity of all gender.
Transfer of constitutional powers to appoint the chairman, the resident electoral commissioners for INEC, from the president to a non-partisan committee to make INEC more independent.
President of the 10th Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, in a message is calling on Nigerians to speak freely, boldly, and argue with passion, not to tear apart the country, but to build a nation that the next generation will be proud of.
The review of the Constitution is not a sign of weakness, but it is a sign of strength. It is not a complaint against the past, but it is rather a commitment to the future. We are meant not to abandon, but to realign, to adopt our national charter to the changing realities, to the dreams and demands of the good people of Nigeria.
These themes resonate deeply with the yearnings of the people of the South-South. Indeed, they mirror long-standing calls from this region for a more just, responsive, and restructured Nigeria.
The two-day public hearing on the Constitution review is expected to end on Saturday, 5th July 2025. In Uyo, Kelvin Samuel, NTA News.
Thank you, Kelvin. We're taking a break now. We'll be right back with more news after these messages. Stay with us. It's nice to know you're still watching the network news on NTA. In a renewed call to action, rooted in data, driven by hope, the federal government has revealed its latest performance assessment report with spotlight on girls' education, progress and urgent gaps yet to be bridged. Education partners are now aligning efforts to expand access and ensure that every Nigerian girl has the opportunity to thrive through quality education, widely recognized as a cornerstone for national development. Zenret Moon reports.
So during the project, I did an assessment for 50 girls. And after the assessment, the school came up that in each class, there are 50 girls that can read and write. After the 3 months, all the girls were able to read and write, all of them.
Martha Samuel, a Malala Fellow, has defied the odds to become a beacon of hope, championing the cause of education for girls. Today, she stands as a celebrated young leader, helping other girls stay in school despite the challenges they face.
To discuss the critical financing gap and how to close it through innovative, country-led domestic resource mobilization, and of course, by ensuring critical and quality investments in key sectors, including education.
Why we thought of doing this is to catalyze investment in the education sector for girls specifically, and also to generate evidence so that governors will use it to implement girls' education.
These two knowledge products are strategic investments and tools designed to help us collectively understand where we are to ensure every Nigerian girl can access, remain in, and thrive through education.
Stakeholders agree that the insights generated will help shape policy, guide funding decisions, and drive renewed commitment across all levels of government and civil society. In Abuja, Zenret Dingmun, NTA News.
Still on education, the foundation of every child's upbringing holds the power to shape the future of societies. At a time when conversation around the rights of women and the girl child is gaining momentum, one Nigerian institution is stepping forward to lead the charge. Ayodeji Makinde explores how Veritas University, standing firm at the crossroads, is championing a movement that echoes the voice and vision of one of Africa's most iconic storytellers, Chimamanda Adichie.
Faces in a formative period, and in contrast, another group at a threshold of being made or otherwise. One of the many things needed is inspiration. Talk about that, and leading where it matters is internationally recognized writer Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, who is back in motherland to lift spirits to a higher level. Mingling with the authority and students at Veritas, Chimamanda brings her indigenous background, international exposure to bear on literature, the rights of the girl child, feminism, and issues on the pathway to womanhood.
Women, men, we all dream. And sometimes we put our dreams in our pockets because we don't think that they will come true. We have somehow cheated ourselves. So we've used half of the intelligence that God gave to us as human beings by excluding women.
Now she is a global icon. That also tells us young people that if you pursue your ambition with focus, you can get there.
Poses, autographs, connection with Gen Zs with a task on these younger ones to embrace gender equality, protect and respect every lady and woman. With her, the global drive for gender equality is incomplete without our dear women. He for she and she for he. In Abuja, Ayodeji Makinde, NTA News.
Thank you, Ayo. Now let's head to Kano State, where Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf has commended the federal government for its commitment to fostering boundless opportunities through innovation and information technology. The commendation was made in a message delivered at the inauguration of a digital industrial park in Kano. Abdullahi Mustafa reports.
Equipped with state-of-the-art infrastructure, the Kano Digital Industrial Park is designed to provide access to cutting-edge technologies, networking opportunities and support services aimed at fostering innovation and growth. The facility is set to become a hub for companies, startups and entrepreneurs developing digital solutions, products and services.
Our president is a man that wakes up daily thinking about what he will do to push Nigeria forward. And this is what I'll be speaking from my heart today. I want to
Delivering a message on behalf of Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf, Deputy Governor Aminu Abdusalam thanked President Bola Tinubu for overseeing the renovation and retooling of the park, emphasizing its significance for youth empowerment and national development.
Your consistent support for our digital ecosystem has been a source of strength and inspiration.
Whenever you intend to do that, in a show of appreciation, Kano Emirate Council placed its support for extending the park's services to rural communities. The Kano Digital Industrial Park is expected to serve all the 7 states in the Northwest Geopolitical Zone. In Kano, Abdullahi Mustafa, NTA News.
The Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has ordered the Nigerian Senate to recall the lawmaker representing Kogi Central Senatorial District, Senator Natasha Akpoti-Oduahan, who was suspended for 6 months. The court equally fined Senator Natasha 5 million naira for contempt and ordered a formal apology on social media and 2 national dailies. Dele Atumbi of our Judiciary Desk reports.
Parties in this matter are Senator Natasha Akpoti-Oduahan as plaintiff, the Senate, Clerk of the National Assembly, President of the Senate, and Chairman Senate Committee on Ethics, Privileges, and Public Petitions are respondents. Senator Natasha Akpoti-Oduahan challenged a suspension by the Senate for 6 months, which was done on March 6, 2025. Ruling on the preliminary issues raised by both parties, Justice Binta Nyako found Senator Natasha culpable of contempt of court following a satirical apology she posted on her Facebook page. The court fined the lawmaker 5 million naira for contempt, which is to be paid into the treasury of the court. Additionally, she is ordered to publish a formal apology on her Facebook page and in 2 national dailies, all within 7 days of this ruling. On the substantive matter, which is the suspension of Senator Natasha by the Senate, Justice Binta Nyako described the suspension as excessive. The court faulted Section 8 of the Senate Standing Rules and Section 14 of the Legislative House's Powers and Privileges Act, declaring both provisions as overreaching. The court held that while the Senate reserves the right to discipline its members, any sanction must be proportionate and must not infringe upon the constitutional rights of the lawmakers' constituents to be represented. Justice Nyako also dismissed the argument by the respondents that the court lacked jurisdiction to hear the matter on the grounds that it concerned an internal affairs of the Senate.
That the Senate should consider recalling her back, although the reliefs are not stated. There's no question asking for suspension to be lifted.
With this verdict, the trial court has now become functions officials. In Abuja, Dele Atumbi, NTA News.
President Tinubu congratulates the Oba, Dr. Akinloye Owolabi Olakuleyin, on his 90th birthday and first anniversary of his coronation as the 43rd Olubadan of Ibadan land. He praises the monarch's wisdom, peace and commitment to progress, wishing him strength, good health and long life, while praying for a peaceful and prosperous reign. Similarly, President Tinubu congratulates the chairman, National Sports Commission, Shehu Dikko, on his 55th birthday, commending his dedication to Nigerian sports and integrity-driven institutions. The president wishes him continued health, strength, and greater accomplishment in service to the nation. It's time now to join our Lagos Network Center. Hingino is standing by. Hingino.
Thank you, Najatu, and welcome to Lagos. Reduction of dominance of foreign vessels in Nigeria's shipping industry through government support for indigenous companies will go a long way in reducing capital flight and pressure on foreign exchange. Joel Popola reports that experts are urging government to place premium on development of local capacity in the implementation of the national policy on marine and blue economy.
Nigeria, with its strategic waterways, is a major destination and transit point for movement of goods, with vessels constantly navigating the nation's maritime domain. While these foreign vessels earn huge returns on their investments, industry players say Nigeria loses billions of dollars annually, and this is what the indigenous shipping companies should have been making. This unwanted narrative cannot be allowed to continue, and still it is time for indigenous companies to step up their game.
Most vessels that are going to North Africa or West Africa will probably first go to Europe before you take them to Ghana. Or, if you are going to Cameroon, for instance, you probably have to go to maybe European port before you come back and go to Ghana. And that is why freight cost is very high.
In a significant milestone for Nigeria, the nation's first indigenous container vessel has berthed in Lagos. Experts say this is a move in the right direction.
It will serve as a catalyst in the industry to penetrate and break that barrier whereby the international community are taking 90% of the market size.
We believe in Nigeria. We have confidence that Nigeria will very soon be one of the developed nations of the world.
With the cabotage vessel financing fund disbursement expected to serve as a catalyst for the shipping industry, stakeholders are optimistic that the tide will change in favor of Nigeria. In Lagos, Joel Popola, NT News.
Emerging Markets Telecommunications Services Limited, 9 Mobile, and MTN Communications PLC have officially announced the rollout of a national roaming agreement approved by the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC. At a press briefing in Lagos, management of both companies revealed that the 3-year agreement enables 9 Mobile subscribers to roam seamlessly on MTN Nigeria's expansive network, significantly extending 9 Mobile's coverage and improving service quality for its customers. Collaboration between 9 Mobile and MTN Nigeria marks a major shift from competition to cooperation in the telecom industry. The partnership, which is the first of its kind in the country, is aimed at strengthening greater industry collaboration, which aligns with the NCC's vision for a more inclusive and efficient digital ecosystem. Chief Executive Officer, 9 Mobile, Obafemi Banibe, said the agreement marks a bold resurgence for 9 Mobile as it empowers the firm to deliver consistent, high-quality service as they roll out city by city in the weeks ahead.
As we continue to invest in the development of our network infrastructure, investing in our core network upgrade, investing in the upgrade of our billing system, our transmission infrastructure, we consider it an opportunity to leverage on the infrastructure that MTN has in place across the country, and in order for us to extend our services to our end users.
Chief Executive Officer, MTN Nigeria, Carl Toriola, represented by the Chief Enterprise Business Officer, described the partnership as a milestone for the sector as it underscores MTN's commitment to industry innovation, customer centricity, and support for the NCC's goal of a fully connected Nigeria.
We believe that scale will require this type of collaboration, and we are very committed to pushing the boundaries and ensuring that the people of Nigeria get the best that is possible.
Both companies believe beyond infrastructure sharing, the agreement drives greater operational efficiency, stronger connectivity, and an enhanced user experience. Maria Adu-Zakari is standing by with business news after this break.
Yeah, just in time for business news with Maria Ado-Zakari. Maria.
Well, we have the Vice President Kashim Shettima saying the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has repositioned cassava production to ensure the crop becomes a key driver of industrial development and import substitution in Nigeria. At a ceremony in Abuja to mark the 2025 World Cassava Day, the Vice President noted that cassava, which for long symbolized food security for the vulnerable, can also signify prosperity for the ambitious.
Cassava has long symbolized food security for the vulnerable. It is also time that it symbolizes prosperity for the ambitious. Let this day mark the beginning of a new era where cassava is not merely grown, but transformed. Where our fields are not only bountiful, but profitable. Where Nigeria leads, not just in tons harvested, but in values created. As we commemorate the World Cassava Day 2025, let us commit ourselves to action. Let us move beyond plans and press releases. Let us deliver outcomes that transform lives and rebuild rural economies.
Our focus is to reposition cassava as a strategic raw material, one that powers our industry, substitutes imports, creates jobs, and strengthens local supply chain, as well as drive socio-economic transformation of our communities.
We have invested over $200 million in investments locally in the last 5 years, and we plan to do more over the next few years.
Today, we are translating our commitments into concrete actions.
Harnessing opportunities and creating conducive environment for businesses to thrive towards attracting foreign direct investments and economic prosperity of Plateau State and Nigeria took center stage as the nationwide tour by the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council, PEBEC, birthed in Jos. PEBEC, along with the State Action on Business Enabling Reforms, SABER, also had a technical session and town hall meeting with critical stakeholders in the business community. Ndayang Andayabagyang reports.
The Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council nationwide tour is part of efforts towards driving ease of doing business reforms across the states of the Federation. And so the discourse provided the platform for government officials, public and private sector players to rub minds and proffer sustainable solutions to challenges of doing business in the country.
For us, this is one of the areas that we need to sustain to be able to bring all the stakeholders together and see how we can do a peer review and to see whether we're doing well or not.
There are hurdles to businesses, and what they're doing here is try to find out the hurdles and as far as possible to try and make it easier for those doing business.
So it's beyond just ticking the box of starting it. You have to domicile it. You have to get your agencies to relate. Do you understand? So that, doing business in your state becomes seamless. It becomes less rigorous.
This visit today is to come and see what we are doing, how we are doing, and to tell us where we're not getting it right.
Chaired by the Vice President, PBEC has so far implemented more than 180 reforms aimed at improving the business environment in the country. In Jos, Ndenyan and Abuja, NTA News.
We now go back to Najatu for the rest of the news.
Thank you very much, Maria. And closely related to business is power. And Nigeria has continued to witness increased investment in renewable energy. But a new concern has come up: the influx of substandard solar panels and batteries. The Rural Electrification Agency is therefore addressing this with the establishment of a mini-grid standardization and simulation center for testing all renewable energy equipment. Joshua Ojitu reports.
The country is experiencing an influx of substandard or used equipment, and we need to get rid of that for us to catalyze investment into the country.
Nigeria identified the challenge likely to erode the gains being witnessed in the renewable energy subsector, and the Chinese government steps in. 18 equipment worth $150,000 donated to Rural Electrification Agency by the Chinese government to set up a world-class mini-grid testing center to ensure all imported and locally manufactured solar panels, batteries and inverters are certified before installation.
We're also going to use this to ensure the sustainability of our mini-grid infrastructure across the country. We're going to use this for research and development and training of our new intake, and making sure that we use this also to continue to develop the technical skill of the ecosystem.
We will arrange some engineer to be here to teach how to use these tools for the IEA.
The whole point of the testing center is we don't need to go to these exact environments, but we can stimulate the conditions you have in those environments. Then we can see the output of these devices under those conditions.
It is one of the gains of President Bola Tinubu's visit to China in 2024, where a memorandum of understanding was signed between the two countries. Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, has acknowledged the contribution of Sokoto State Government to the improvement of the sector. An unprecedented number of people-oriented projects executed across Sokoto State. This was while inaugurating a newly reconstructed road, and laying the foundation stone for the construction of a VIP terminal at the Sultan Abubakar III International Airport, Sokoto. Alhatu Abdullahi reports.
Leading to the Sultan Abubakar III International Airport was reconstructed and beautified by the Sokoto State Government at a cost of 1.2 billion naira to ease movement to and from the main road and improving accessibility to the airport.
But in all of this, we must not forget today in all we are doing to thank our President, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, by whose vision, by whose policies, state governments across the country are having extra cash now to carry out such projects.
This event represents not only a significant milestone in our transportation infrastructure, but also underscores our commitment to enhancing air travel and connectivity in Nigeria.
Governor Ahmed Aliyu describes the project as a reflection of his administration's dedication to infrastructural development.
Our administration awarded the contract, ensured its execution, and went further to enhance it through a comprehensive beautification exercise.
The minister also performed foundation laying for the construction of a VIP terminal being undertaken by Governor Ahmed Aliyu-led administration at the cost of 1.5 billion naira, which when completed is expected to enhance security, provide comfort for waiting passengers, and improve the overall airport experience. In Sokoto, Alhatu Abdullahi, NTA News.
This is the network news on NTA. Stay tuned for sports and more in a moment. And just before we join our sports desk, 249 years ago, 1776 to be precise, the Declaration of Independence was adopted on the 4th of July for a colony now known as the United States of America. Comfort Fashion gives us all the highlights.
The atmosphere here is filled with excitement, handshakes, smiles, and clinking of wine glasses, accompanied by a soft background music. The night in Nigeria marks the celebration of America's independence from the rule of the United Kingdom. The occasion was also used to bid USAID farewell. The exit of USAID was due to change in policy of the country's administration on aid.
Let me assure all of you, especially our Nigerian friends, the life-saving programs we have built together will continue, sustained through our partnership with Nigeria. Our partnership with Nigeria continues to evolve, and we are now anchoring that partnership in a commitment to prosperity, to increasing commerce and trade between our two countries.
We take pride in the progress we have achieved together and Nigeria remains steadfast in its commitment to furthering this vital relationship.
The event is an indication to the guests that the freedom of America did not just come easy, but through courage, patriotism, and unity by the founding fathers.
The values which is kept alive from generations to these days continue to shape the nation's democratic principles and global presence. From the U.S. Embassy in Abuja, I am Comfort Fashim.
Thank you, Comfort. Now let's join Badi on our sports desk. But Badi, are we beginning on a solemn note or not?
Yeah, I think, we'll start with the Super Falcons of Nigeria and end on that note, as the Super Falcons have been handed a major financial incentive ahead of the 2024 Women's Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco, after the Confederation of African Football revealed that the winner of this year's competition will take home a record-breaking $1 million, a 100% rise from the previous edition's prize. The 9-time African champions have not lifted the trophy since their triumph in Ghana in 2018. They say they are eager to reclaim their crown, and the enhanced winner's check is adding fresh fuel to the ambition. US-based rising star Chioma Okafor, who is soaking up every moment of her first Super Falcons call-up, speaks on the team's renewed determination.
Expectations for this tournament are really high because the Super Falcons really have really high standards for themselves as individuals as well as the whole team. So it raised a lot of my expectations as well. For them as a team, we're obviously going for the trophy. We want to win. Those are my expectations personally. I just want to be able to, embrace whatever role I'm given and make the most out of it. So.
Now, tributes have continued to pour in for late Super Eagles shortstopper Peter Rufai with the National Sports Commission, the Nigeria Football Federation, the National Institute for Sports, past and present players of the Super Eagles, and other notable members of the Nigerian sports fraternity, including NTA Sports, are leading a wave of tributes for the late football icon. Dodo Mayana, fondly remembered as one of Nigeria's greatest goalkeepers, died in the early hours of Thursday, July the 3rd, 2025, after battling a prolonged illness. His death has sparked an outpouring of grief across Nigeria's football community, with tributes flooding in from political leaders, football authorities, former teammates and fans, all celebrating his immense contributions to the game and the nation. And finally, Liverpool squad are set to attend Diogo Jota's funeral in Portugal on Saturday, when thousands are expected to pay their respects. A joint funeral for Jota and his brother Andre Silva will be held at the Igreja Matriz de Godoma Church following Thursday's devastating crash. The pair died after the car they were driving came off the motorway, having suffered a tire blowout while overtaking in the Spanish province of Zamora. And it's on that note that we end on Sports Live tonight. Let's return to Nigeria too.
Thank you, Badi. And still on a solemn note, the football fraternity in Nigeria has been thrown into mourning since Thursday, July 3rd, 2025, when the former Super Eagles captain and goalkeeper Peter Rufai passed on. Football stakeholders far and wide have been paying glowing tribute to the late football legend who featured in 2 FIFA World Cups in his 2-decade career. Gift George takes a look at his career before he passed on before his 62nd birthday.
Looking very good and well clutched by the keeper.
Born on July 24, 1963, the late Peter Rufai, popularly known as Dodo Mayana, for a spectacular performance as a goalkeeper for the Super Eagles for more than 2 decades. He started his playing career with Stationery Stores Lagos from 1980 to 1984, helping the team to get to the finals of the Africa Cup Winners' Cup in 1981, after which he got a call-up into the Green Eagles of Nigeria, making his debut
inside the field of play. He was like a lion, and outside the field, he is a gentleman to the core.
He made a total of 65 appearances for the national team, playing a key role as the first choice keeper as the Super Eagles qualified for the FIFA World Cup for the first time in USA in 1994.
After the football career, he became a very good football administrator.
The late goalkeeper also featured at the France 98 World Cup and was part of the golden generation of the Super Eagles, who also won the Africa Cup of Nations in Tunisia in 1994.
He was my hero, really. I also remember him for the series of saves he made right at the start of our opening game in the World Cup later that year against Bulgaria.
After his retirement, he was actively involved in grassroots football development with the formation of the Star Football Academy and the Dodo Mayana Soccer Town, where he mentored and developed grassroots players and coaches.
We all played with Peter, and we're happy for the life that he spent here on earth, and we're praying for the comfort of his loved ones that he left behind.
The late Peter Rufai will be fondly remembered for his passion and commitment to the game of football in Nigeria, despite being born into a royal family in Idumu in Lagos State. In Lagos, Gift George, NTA News.
The Osuho family of Umonedi Kingdom in Delta State has announced the death of Chief Edwin Omobolem Osuho, a multiple title holder of the Umonedi Kingdom. A legal icon and avid sportsman, the deceased was the first lawyer from the Umonedi Kingdom and pioneer registrar of the Corporate Affairs Commission. Chief Osuho died on the 11th of June after a brief illness. He is survived by wife, Barrister Ngozi Osuho, 5 children, siblings and grandchildren. He will be interred on the 18th of July after a funeral service. And on that solemn note, we conclude the network news on NTA. I'm Najaa Atutijani. Thanks for watching.